and Chennai is this, totally, completely focused learning center. Didn't really help. I didn't get into medical school even after going to Chennai. But what I did was, I did a lot of debating, I did a lot of elocution, I did all kinds of mad things like cleaning up Mahabalipuram beach, going on treks and expeditions. The only way we could get out of the hostel was if you went to the temple at 4:30 in the morning. So a bunch of us would go to the temple religiously every Saturday and Sunday, dressed in whatever way, but the warden didn't care as long as we were going to the temple. And we actually explored whatever that could be done in Chennai. I think we've cleaned beaches, we've gone for debates, we've gone for elocutions, attended every college festival, which was not allowed because it was a girls' college and you had to take prior permission and stuff like that. I became an active jammer at that time. Really enjoyed all the activities other than the academic activities. But because, the academic achievement was just so ingrained as I was growing up, you just had to be a university ranker. It didn't matter that I did my BSc in botany. I cannot remember the name of a single tree or plant or leaf. I cannot tell one plant from the other, but you just had to do it because it was just so ingrained. And the other thing that happened to me was the peer circle, which I think really opened lots and lots and lots of doors. Truly. And that's when I started. There were two people in my life whom I met over there, Jaydev and Ranjani, who both got into the Indian administrative services because they had this vision of changing the face of India. Now, it's sad to say both of them are in the US now, but still, it's they got into the Indian administrative service. They made it to a fairly decent rank. I don't know the hierarchy. One was in Bihar and the other was posted in Madhya Pradesh, and that really inspired me to start. The whole seed of maybe I can be part of some change actually was instilled in by them. And their passion and their achievement kind of resonated with me about, okay, maybe that's something that I would want to do. And then when Ranju told me that, well, if you want to pass the IAS, here are those books, immediately those dreams just shattered and I decided that was for me. Again, so this was an avenue that I definitely wanted to explore, but parents being parents wanted me to do a post-graduation, did not want me to work after graduation and stuff like that. And I came to Bombay in 1990, I joined SP Jain. Suddenly education just got redefined for me. There were no textbooks to learn from, there were no real classrooms. We were just given a whole bunch of theory and a whole bunch of cases and told, go, solve. And I struggled. I think that was the first time I actually flunked out in class. The first semester I flunked, I actually failed because I didn't know how to learn by myself. I was always taught. I just didn't know. I was never ever pushed through the system to ever figure things out for myself. So I just flunked my classes. But slowly I got interested because there was this Dr. Shrikant who was then the dean, I suppose he's still the dean of the institute, who took this one class in strategic management where he taught us structured thinking, the ability to zoom in and zoom out. And I think that is the only thing I remember throughout my MBA education. I don't remember tax, accounting, marketing. And he was very high on social entrepreneurship. We had to do a Ruby stint as part of the SP Jain thing way back from there. And today I think it's a fairly big thing with SP Jain, where he stressed on the importance of being a social entrepreneur, of being a job creator versus a job seeker. Those used to be his favorite phrases. And I can still remember his classes. He only took class at 7 in the morning and you had to come with your homework done, which would invariably be about 4 case studies which were given to you at 9 o'clock the night before. So you had to kind of come prepared for the 7 o'clock morning class and he would grill you on the way you're prepared. But not a single person would miss that class. Again, it's the power of being this really terrific teacher. So as I look back, I only remember 2 teachers throughout, and that's pretty sad. Throughout your education, if you just remember 2 teachers, to me that talks a lot about the state of education. When did I start thinking about education? Very selfishly, when my daughter was 3 years old and when she had to start going to school. We went through a lot of debate and finally sent her to a regular old learning school, but that's not the point. The point was that we kind of looked at a whole set of schools. I went and researched many, and when she started in 1996, there was your ICSE, your state board, or your CBSE curriculum. There's nothing else that is really available. What was the ideal school? Can I look at schools which had some amount of pedigree but stressed a lot on overall development, and a lot of questions about what's learning. At that time, it started occurring to me, can you really separate learning and achievement? Are they two different things, or are they really, really interlinked? And these are all questions that I started asking then, and I don't think I can answer a lot of them even now, but at least I have some definite thoughts and ideas and opinions on it, but these are still up in the air philosophical questions that I don't know whether I can really answer. Okay, so in 2002, there were two incidents, both that happened at traffic lights. Okay, and I graduated out and joined the corporate sector, got into advertising because I thought that was an offbeat creative profession, and realized it wasn't. It was very, very structured and with a whole set of rules. Then I went into research because I was interested in learning the whys of advertising and the whys of communication. And I had a bad day at work, and I was actually, the earlier incident happened first. I was at the Lower Parel signal, where you take that right to go towards Phoenix, and it was at that signal. There was this little girl who was sleeping on the road at the traffic signal. Okay, she was wearing a really beautiful frock and a pair of almost brand new shoes. I still remember that. Her frock was lifted up, and she wasn't wearing a patty. And there was this man standing next to her and feeling himself and leching. And this is a little girl, absolutely maybe 3 or 4 years old, or the age of my daughters. It really disturbed me, but I did nothing. I just drove on. But it continued to haunt me. I was educated. I knew there was a child line, a 1098 that I could have called. I knew I could have stopped and done something to wake up the child, or at least pulled her frock down. I knew I could have stopped there and said something to the man. And it bothered me. It really, really bothered me, and it just stayed in my conscience. And to this day, it haunts me. The fact that I didn't do, I used to keep wondering what happened to that little girl. And obviously, I've never seen her before at that traffic light. I think a couple of weeks down the line, I had a bad day at work, and then I was at the Mahalakshmi signal. There were these group of kids who came and wrote their name in English on my red screen. And I got around chatting to them. They were selling gajras, and I found out that they were going to Akanksha, and they were going to some center in Kempscon. So that's all. I think I came back home and wrote it to Shaheen, and 3 days later I was working at Akanksha. It was one of those completely random. I had never thought about entering the sector. I had never thought about education as a possible career. It was one random letter that I shot off, and of course the first interview I thought Lopa won't recruit me, and then I was really surprised that I was called again to meet Shaheen, and then that's how I joined. And through Akanksha, I'm sure you've all heard the why not. I think it was more, why is this happening got converted to, okay, why can't it be any other way? Okay. And of course, Rajshri. I think the two people who stood out in my Akanksha experience have been Shaheen and Rajshri. With Rajshri, I learned what a lousy teacher I was, how bad I was at lesson planning. Because the carrot for me was not to teach. When I came in, Shaheen spoke about the Learning to Lead program, and I was really, really excited about starting that. But she said that, okay, before we can start that, you have to teach at Akanksha Center for a year. And I thought that was really not a big deal. Teaching a bunch of kids